Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of In the Pits of Motor Chaos. In a couple minutes, we'll have on Mountain Motor Pro Stock driver Johnny Pluchino live with us. So hopefully this will be a good interview. Bear with me. I'm going to call him. Let me get him on. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, man.
You live on the air in the Pits of Motor Chaos. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Good. So we got Mountain Motor Pro Stock driver Johnny Pluchino. So Johnny, are you looking forward to racing this year?
Oh yeah. We're actually 2 races deep already, so it felt really good to get back out there, and I'm itching to go again.
So how was the change going from the extreme pro mods over to pro stock?
Right. So prior, I ran the 632 Outlaw 632 class, but the car that we raced, we tailored it kind of to be similar to a pro stock car. You know, I was always a pro stock guy. Grew up, my dad racing pro stock, and naturally aspirated with a clutch for a long time. So we put a 632 combination together when everyone else was running nitrous, and we took the weight break and we went and we built the naturally aspirated combination and put a 5-speed in it. So it was similar to a pro stock car, extreme pro stock car that is. And we went out. We set some records. We won some championships and some races, and we did really well with it. But the goal was always to get to extreme pro stock for me as a driver. So differences are that the front end stays up a little bit longer. It's got a little bit more power, and it pulls that much harder on the big end. But it's similar, but it's just a slight step up, if I could say that.
So you're 2 events deep into how'd you do on the first 2 events?
So the first event, went out there and we actually won the race. I got my first Extreme Pro Stock win. That was down at Kalat PDRA event. Second event, I was 006 red in the semifinal. So we have a decent start to the season. Look, I got my first event win, PDRA national event win as an Extreme Pro Stock class there. So real happy about that, obviously. But we have a whole season ahead of us. We're looking at our goal is championship. And we just have to stay consistent. You gonna have to go around and qualify well at each race, and hopefully we're fighting for it come the last race.
And I know you had to be excited to get Strutmasters back on board again.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I tell everybody, Chip is he's more than just a marketing partner and sponsor. He's a part of our team, and we probably wouldn't be out here. I say probably. No, I'm not just joking around. Or using that lightly. We probably really would not be racing this year if it wasn't for a partnership with him. He's helped us out tremendously. We had some engine failure over the winter on the dyno, kind of trying to improve our program. And unfortunately, things happen, things break, and we had a little bit of a setback there that we probably wouldn't have got through without help from a partner like that. So, that being said, he's as big of a part of our team as anybody.
Now, what other sponsors do you have to keep this car going?
Yeah, I got John Cosby Racing Engines is huge for us. He's allowed us to race on a high level as an underfunded team for a long time. Just such an amazing engine shop. They built our 632 engine that set records and kicked ass, and they've always been behind us in the pro stock deal. So John Cosby Racing Engines is huge. Ram clutches, they're on board with us as well. They're just unbelievable product. Pat from Ram is just always there when you need him. Just 110%. What an excellent company. Precision Racing Suspension does our shocks and everything with us. They work with us on tuning with the shocks. Adam's a great help there. Book Racing carburetors. Hoosier Race Tires with us, NGK Spark Plugs. We just have a lot of partners that really come together. It's a team deal, and we have some new exciting stuff that we're looking to do coming up. I think we're going to be probably the next race or so looking to get a Voss wheelie bars on the car, and we're going to do some experimenting with some carbon wheelie bars that I'm really excited about as well. So again, it's always nice to have people in the industry that can support you with their expertise and excellent products, and that's the only way you're going to win races and compete at a high level in a class like we race.
Yeah. Now, who are the crew members that keep this car purring?
Well, my dad's program at the end of the day. He's built this program up, for a long time. He's been racing since before I existed. So he's piece by piece. He's built this program up. This is his deal. So he's first and foremost, obviously. And me and my dad do most of the work on the car as far as that goes. The first two races, we only had one crew member with us. Very good friend of ours who's been racing with my dad for 30 years. And he was there helping us there. He was the only crew member we had there, unfortunately. We do have another gentleman named Bill, good friend of ours, that usually comes, but he's been a little tied up just with work and things that have been going on this year. So we do miss him out there. But it's usually just the four of us. That's the main crew. We do have some guys that come and help us out here and there. But one thing I'll say about our crew, they're always all volunteer. They do it because they love it, just like we do. Again, we wouldn't be able to be out there racing on the level we race at if we had to hire a crew. It's just unfortunately it's just not in the budget. So we're lucky enough to have skilled, talented, and just great people that love this as much as we do, that want to go out there and fight the fight against these big teams week in and week out.
All right, now let me rewind the clock with you, Johnny, and ask you, how did you get into drag racing? Was it your dad?
Yeah, so was my dad. My dad was racing since before I was around, so I grew up loving drag racing. I watched it on TV. I read the National Dragster. It was always a pro stock guy. My dad always had a door car, and in the mid '90s, I was born in '90, so the mid '90s, my dad had his ex-Ricky Smith Firebirds with 500-inch motors in them, and he was out there going low sevens, trying to qualify for any pro stock here and there, and run local Northeast Association, Pro Mod Association. So that was through the mid to late '90s, and I just grew up at the racetrack. When I was 6 years old, my dad got me a junior dragster for Christmas. I raced junior dragsters for 10 years. I just literally lived, breathed drag racing from the time I was born. And that's thanks to my dad giving me the opportunity to, and just teaching me along the way. He made it about more than just him going drag racing. It was a family affair, and man, I'm hooked more than I can imagine. So
how'd you do in junior dragster racing?
Great. When I started out, I was young, and you go through your learning period, and I was decent when I was younger, but we got once my dad kind of put the door car. He had a door car. He was racing through the late '90s, and early 2000s. Once he stopped that, and we were really heavy into it. That's when we were starting to win a lot of races. And I won three track championships at Englishtown. My last 2 years, won 3 championships. So I would say we had some success with that.
So how exciting was it for you to win your first championship?
With the junior dragster?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun, man. I've been a competitive person since the time I was born. So you're always looking to accomplish the ultimate goal, and to me, in any sport or drag racing, the ultimate goal is championship, right? You want to be a champion. And when I hang my helmet up one day, you count championships first, and you count, event wins after that. So you want to win races come to championships, and every trophy that's hanging on my wall has memories behind it. And, So buying those 12 championships or 5 championships or 3, whenever you're all done with this whole deal, it comes memories, and that's really what's most important.
Now, after the 10 years of junior dragster racing, what did you jump into after that?
So after that, kind of was my dad bought Mountain Motor car in 2006, 7, and we pieced together a motor that was blown up, and we were doing what we could, did some local stuff, and I was mostly just crewing on that car. Learned a lot again because before that there was like a 3-4 year hiatus when we weren't racing the door car and just junior dragster racing. So at that time I was 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, and that was really a time for me to really learn a lot from my dad, who's been doing this a long time. So and then we learned together, still to this day, and we do it side by side. So that's excellent. So we did that for a while, and then when I was about 20, 21, I jumped in one of his older cars that a good friend of ours had bought from him, and we put a smaller motor in it. I think it was a 600-inch motor at the time, and just went out there with a 5-speed and just started making laps. And when I got my license, the car was a 460 car in the 8th mile, which is a 720, 17 car in the quarter mile. So it was a fast car for your first car. It was a 5-speed with a clutch. Never drove an automatic actually in my life, except to the grocery store. But that's what I did, and I learned how to drive a race car, and I learned what was going on in a race car before I ever drove one. I learned from watching my dad. I learned from understanding what was going on in the car. And by the time I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I was starting to help, tune the car with my dad. So when you know what's going on in the car, it makes it a lot easier to transition into a driver. And thank God, I had great genes and great teacher. I was fairly easy transition.
So when did you get into the 632 class?
So that car there, we like I said, it had like a 600-inch motor in it, and it wasn't really purpose built for anything except make some laps. We ran top sportsman race or an index race here and there, and then I found this class in Florida, Outlaw 632. I said, let me look at this. And it was all nitrous cars, usually heavier cars, and I looked and they had a weight brake for naturally aspirated. So I said, hey, let's give this a go. I looked up how fast they were going. I said, we could be competitive, So we went out there for the first race. We went down to West Palm, and we went out there, and the first race, I runner-up. And I said, wow, this is pretty cool. We can do something here. So worked on the program a little bit over the winter and went out there, and there was like a local Florida series that was going on. It mostly was West Palm, Orlando, Bradenton, stuff like that. And we chased. There wasn't anything behind the championship, but they tallied points up, and we won that year. I got, I think, three wins down there, and it was pretty cool right away. And from there, it was mostly just events, that local events that 632 was being held at. But PDRA went ahead and they picked up the class. So once PDRA picked up the class, it long story short, it came into a pro class, and the competition really got steep. So when we started doing that, we were out there going 450, high 440s, and I would say in 3 years later, if you're not going 420s, you got to stay home. So things got really tough in a really short amount of time. Going into 2018 is really the first time that we built a car that was going to be a max effort, run at a class like that. So in 2008, going into 2018, we said, okay, we're going to build this. We built a 632 Ford Hemi. Ran it in the Escort that we had run in Pro Stock prior with a 5-speed, a Ram clutch in it. We went out there and we got we've got six PDRA event wins. We got the ET record at 416, and we got 2018, 2019 championship. So we did it our way. They pounded us with 250 pounds of weight in a 2-year period just because we ran so well, to be completely honest, and we had a lot of fun. But going into 2020, we wanted to refocus our efforts back just running the one car in the Pro Stock car, and that's where we are now.
So is that 416 now is your fastest time with the 632 class?
Yeah, that's the fastest time anyone's ever been, 632 so far. It'll get broken soon, I'm sure, but we set that in the end of 18. We went 416 with a 2, and at that time before that, I think the record was a 19 by Dylan Voss. So to go out there and we dropped it by 300, went a 16. Some jaws dropped.
So what's the fastest you've gone in the Mountain Motor Pro Stock so far?
I went 404 in the Mountain Motor car. I've been 404. I've been 630 in the quarter mile, but I don't have too many quarter mile runs under my belt. I probably only have 6 or 7. So the plan is to definitely break those records this year.
Now, what do you enjoy most about being a drag racer?
Man, I can't narrow it down to one, so I'm gonna give you a couple.
All right.
I would say there's 3 things. Okay, I love driving the car. It's exhilarating. I love the tuning aspect of it. I love trying to figure out how to make a car faster, more efficient, more consistent, go down the racetrack. I love, when you're not at the racetrack, in your home looking at things and looking at the race pack graph and trying to figure stuff out. There's something to that. I guess it's you're challenging your mind, and then you're going to see the results. So that's, sometimes I think I even like that more than driving. I don't know. It's tough, but I'd say the third aspect is just the competition. I'm such a competitive person in general, that going out there and racing at a high level with people who put so much time, effort, money into doing this, they love it just like you do, because the competitive aspect drives me over and over.
Now, is there anything you hate most about being a drag racer?
Yeah, it's damn expensive. I was with a stick and ball sport. Sometimes I was addicted to. You can grab a bat for $120, a ball from friends, and go play baseball. But man, I got addicted to the wrong sport financially.
Yeah. So now, if you were able to change anything, about the NHRA, what would you want to change?
About NHRA?
Yeah, like the class you're in anyway, not just the whole NHRA.
Oh, the class. Why I love my class is, I tell you what, I'm going to answer this question as far as what I change about kind of how drag racing is right now. I love my class because the driver's still in the race car, letting the clutch out, shifting all the gears. There's no automated shifters. It's not an automated race car. There's no traction control. It's still old school racing with newer technology. Okay, I am not a fan of where drag racing went with traction control, wheelie control, automatic shifters. When everything becomes automated, the driver lets go of a button, holds the steering wheel with 2 hands, and then the chutes throw themselves, and they just got to keep it off the wall. I don't know. It takes something out of it. So if I could do anything to drag racing, I would get rid of all of that stuff. I'd get rid of everything that makes this automated. Technology is good, but to a point. You don't want to go over the deep end with it. And I just think that we've got there. And I think the more classes that have rules against some of the automated stuff, it's better for the sport. I think it's a great thing for safety as well. I don't think automated shifters are safe as it is for a driver to be in there shifting. If the thing goes into tire shake, the motor is going to rev up, and the automatic shifter is going to see RPM, and it's going to shift into the next gear. So, and that is the cause of 50% of the accidents out there, where a car starts to shake and then gets out of control because the driver can't correct as quickly. You're not going to be plugging that gear in the car if you're doing it yourself and keeping your foot to the floor. So there's a lot of reasons that I think Mountain Motor Pro Stock has the right idea. I just wish there was just more participation with it.
Now, would you like it to be quarter mile?
I love both. As a driver, quarter mile is great. We have a lot of horsepower from John Kazi right now, so yeah, I'd love to stretch the legs on it and go quarter mile racing, because I think if we're not past them at the 8th, there's a good chance we will be at the quarter. But I don't know. We were underdog racers for a really long time. Down on power, and 8th mile was kind of the solution to giving yourself a chance. When you're fighting, just trying to beat 2, 3, 400s behind the guy, and you say, okay, I can get a couple hundreds off the start line. I can get into the 8th. You don't necessarily can't get into the quarter mile if you're down on power. So there's pros and cons to both. At the end of the day, there's a guy next to me in the other lane, and we're both abiding by the same rules. If the race is 400 feet, I'll race him to 400 feet. If it's 1,400 feet, I'll race him to 1,400 feet. We both got to get there first. So the name of the game is drag racing. The most exciting part of the race is probably in the first 200, 300 feet. So I'll race them however far they want us to go.
All right, now if you can have the fans remember one thing about you, what would you want that to be, Johnny?
I guess as far as me, is be just how competitive and how much I love this sport. I live for this. I want to win. There's not a single person in the pits that wants to win more than me. You got to be smart about it, and I get that, but I live and breathe this. I'll work as hard as I have to work at the racetrack or wherever to be successful. So, we're the little guy who I'd like them to. If they're going to remember something, remember my team. So we're the little guy who is fighting the fight against the big teams, and we're hanging in there. And I think we're doing pretty well. I'm very proud of it.
Now, when you're out there on the track, do you have any previous rituals or superstitions at all?
Rituals or superstitions? Well, I pray every time. I'm not the most religious guy in the pits, unfortunately, but I definitely pray before every run. I understand it's a dangerous sport. It can be, at least. We do the best to keep ourselves safe that we can. But anytime you're going 200 something miles an hour, you're definitely taking a risk of some sort. So I definitely pray. As far as a ritual, I don't know. I guess if things are going well, and I try not to change too much. So if I'm putting the nose of the car on with my dad, and I put the left side on for the last 2 runs, I made 2 good runs, I'll probably say, hey, I'll grab the left side of the nose this time. So I get a little superstitious at times, but I don't have anything that carries over season after season usually.
All right, now besides your dad being a big, influence for you for drag racing, you have any other drivers that were influential?
Well, what's pretty funny is, my dad was 110% my own influence. I watched racing, growing up on TV. I was always watching. When I was growing up, it was Kim Yates, WJ, those guys. I watched all those guys in the mid '90s. But I also come from a drag racing family. Beyond my dad, my uncle is John Nobile. My cousin is Vincent Nobile. So it's more than just them. We've always, they've always raced, throughout time, just like we did. So I have a lot of friends in racing. A lot of people have influenced me in my life, but there's one person that I got the bug from, and that's my dad.
Now, what was it like for you the first time ever to go down the track in a pro stock?
Well, it was pretty good. It wasn't too different from the 632. So I would say we kind of groomed it for that. But I would say the first time you let the clutch out, the first time I got my license in that 460 car, it was a pro stock car, an ex-pro stock car. With 5 speed in it. First time you let the clutch out, man, you don't know what to expect. So you're sweating, staging the car, and you're going, okay, I guess I'm gonna do this now, right? So you put the loud pedal on the firewall and let the clutch go, and I was like, man, that was fast. You think about what happened, and let's do it again. And then it's fast for the first couple runs. It's still fast, don't get me wrong, but your body starts to, and your mind starts to catch up to what's happening, the more laps you make. Every run I make, I feel like I catch up to the car a little bit more. And at some point, I feel like you get ahead of the car and understand it a little bit better. But there's no substitute for that besides experience.
Now, is there a lot of preparation to get this car ready for a weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's preparation run by run. In our class, in Mountain Motor Pro Stock, we really have run by run maintenance that we do. So you don't have huge in-between race maintenance unless you're going to make some sort of change or you have to rebuild the engine. Engines usually last 30 to 35 runs. So in-between round maintenance is just going to be to service the clutch, which means we are going to cut the clutch discs, really just to make sure they're true and flat. Because you don't want to make a run, then you go out there and you have a different seated surface. The clutch changes a little bit. So when we're looking for every thousandth of a second, we go out there and we want to be as consistent as possible. So giving the clutch the same, the same material every run, the same position where it's completely flat and not seated more one run than the next, gives you a better tuning window. So we do that. My dad or Bill, depending who's there, they will run through the valves, check valve lash and spring pressure just to make sure nothing's broken. Or if we're getting additional valve lash, maybe something's gone away in the valve train we need to keep an eye on. So you want to catch something that's going away before it breaks. We can do that by going over the engine every run. So other than that, if we're making a gear ratio change in the transmission, which we do probably a quarter of the time, that's your basic run by run maintenance on a car. Fuel it up, tire pressure, clean it off, and go back out there.
Now, do you have any favorite tracks to run on, Johnny?
Lot Motorsports Park. I'm 4 for 4 at that racetrack. I don't know what it is, but I love that place. I got my first win in Pro Stock there this year. I got my first 632 win there. I got my first win with my dad winning last year there. We both won. I won 632. He won Extreme Pro Stock. So
nice.
I don't think I can love another track before unless something gets really good to me in my later years. But right now, 4 for 4, winning 4 big events. Hey, I'm ready to go back there.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I have a Sparco suit that I've had for years that I love. Real comfortable. And safety equipment. We have Stroud. We have actually the Jegs parachutes we run. And I got full Puma gloves and Alpine Star shoes and gloves that fit me real nice that are snug that I use. But Simpson helmet, a little bit everywhere. Everything fits everyone a little bit different, and that's what's been comfortable for me, and I use it till it's wore out.
Now, what have been some of the milestones of your drag racing career?
Biggest milestones, I mean, the 2 championships so far, I guess, have been my biggest milestone. To win a PDRA championship, and it shows consistency throughout a year, and to put that together back-to-back years when, realistically they were putting rules against us to try and keep us in check. That was the 2018 championship was a milestone, but to come back in 19 and do it again, that was a big milestone as well. Obviously winning the race side by side with my dad was my favorite moment. Other than that, I was named Drag Illustrated's 30 under 30 nominee, which is always a nice mention. So that talks about you more than just a racer. It talks about how you are and shining a good light in the industry. So that's an honor as well. Other than that, I just every event win. I got 7 national event wins at this point, and I don't know. I'm blessed to be where I'm at, and I'm just focused on the next race. You can't get too. You got to stay humble, and you're only as good as your last race. So you can have trophies hanging on your wall, but this sport changes so fast, and it's so difficult. So many people are in the same position that want to win, just like you do. So you never know when your last win's going to be.
Yeah, you don't want to get cocky when you're out there.
Yeah, it'll. Anytime you get cocky, this sport shows you exactly what it's like to struggle. So.
Now, throughout your drag racing career, have you had any accidents or close calls yet?
I'm knocking on wood right now. I've been so far so good. When I was actually younger, I slid my junior dragster on its side because I guess I was being a cocky kid taking the turn too fast, but that wasn't a big deal. But no, I've been okay so far. My dad had a pretty bad wreck in '96, which was tough. I mean, it was a real bad wreck. 196. Flew over the wall type of deal at Englishtown top end. So that was a rough deal. They say it's not if, it's when in this deal, but what I would say is you put the best safety equipment you can in these cars. You say a prayer, and you control all the ones you can control, right? So there's going to be some things you can't control, maybe a part breaks or, something else happens that's goofy that causes a wreck. But there's a lot of these that you can control as a driver and just not over driving the race car. So if we can just do that, minimize the amount of wrecks in this, it's the best you can do.
Yep, like you said, knock on wood, no accident, buddy. Now, okay, ready for some fun questions, Johnny?
Sure.
Outside of drag racing, any other hobbies?
What else you got time for?
Yeah.
What do I like to do? I don't know. I'm just a regular guy. I like sports. I like going out, restaurants, live music. Just a regular guy. Other than that, yeah. No major hobbies though. I'm not a good bowler or golfer or anything like that. Most of my time's gone into drag racing. That's about it.
All right, now how many trophies have you won total in your career now?
Trophies? I don't know, because I had a lot of junior drag suit trophies and some other stuff. But as far as like big wins, I got 7 PDRA national event wins. I have a World Street National win, 2 championships. So I got the U.S. Street National win. I probably have 12, 13 pretty serious accomplishments there.
Now, if you could do time traveling and go back in the time, would you do anything differently with the drag racing career at all?
I would probably just tell my younger self that I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. To be completely honest, but you're young and it's different. You always, when you're younger, you think you know everything, right? So,
right.
But you learn. There's no major thing that, again, I would change individual races because I knew the outcome. I would change maybe something that I did at this particular race, but in general, no, I'm pretty proud of my drag racing career thus far. I just hope to continue to grow in a positive manner, and it's a tough sport that we're in, but when you love it as much as I do and my team does, it's very rewarding.
What's your biggest pet peeve, Johnny?
In life?
Life, drag racing, whatever.
I think in life, it's how long people take to get off an airplane. I don't know, it really bothers me. I think that's probably the one thing that bothers me. Everyone takes so long to get off an airplane. Maybe I'm just impatient and a New Yorker. I'm not sure. But I don't know. In drag racing, I told you what bothers me is the automated aspect of drag racing. I also am not a huge fan of when people don't respect the race car. Like I said to you, there's a lot of stuff you can't control, but the other aspect of this deal is there's somebody else in the other lane. So when you have someone who's trying to overdrive a race car, that's kind of a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. I'm not too much of a fan of that. You're taking somebody else's life into risk as well when you're lining up next to them. So just want everyone to have the same mentality and respect for each other that I do.
All right, now what's your favorite food to eat?
I'll give my mom credit on this one. She makes a killer lasagna.
Yum. So, what's your favorite beverage?
Alcoholic or non?
Now, you could do both if you want.
Pretty basic when it comes to regular drinks. I don't drink soda or anything like that. I drink mostly water with some juice.
Okay.
Nothing crazy, but I like to have a alcoholic beverage here and there, and I don't know. I have my favorites. I drink, if it's beer, I usually stick to Blue Moon or a light beer if I want to have a couple, but I like a little bit of wine, and I don't know, vodka, Jameson. I guess I'm all over the place. I'm not picking a favorite here. I'm naming 5.
All right. Now, when you're at the track for a day of racing, do you eat regularly, or do you eat very light and wait till the races are over and then eat more?
It depends. Sometimes we get so busy. It all depends how much time we have. Sometimes it gets so busy, the whole day goes by and you didn't eat. Usually we have McDonald's breakfast in the morning on the way to the racetrack. Breakfast champions, I call it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times we'll get so busy, it'll be 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. We'll just finish up, service the car, get ready for the next day, and we'll realize we haven't eaten yet. But we usually bring down some food from New York with us, some Italian food. Nice chicken and pasta dish for the end of the night. We don't barbecue all too much at the racetrack, but I probably don't eat that much when I'm at the racetrack. And unless it's a rainy day, then you're sitting around doing nothing, and then all of a sudden you're hungry magically.
All right. Now, what's your favorite movie of all time?
I'd probably say I got a couple, but I'm gonna leave you with one, I guess. I'd probably say Bronx Tale. I really like the movie Bronx Tale.
All right. What's your favorite music?
Again, I'm all over the place with music. Right now, if I'm going to listen to something on Pandora, it's probably going to be Bryce Vine Radio. So Bryce is like hip hop type of thing, but I'm all over the place. I like all sorts of different music.
Yeah, it's good to have a broad spectrum of music to listen to.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when you were a kid, Johnny, did you have a favorite cartoon?
Favorite cartoon as a kid? When I was young, I think I loved Power Rangers. I don't know. I don't know if they're still around or what, but I know I remember my dad had a VHS tape of him racing, and I guess I was young, and I wanted to tape Power Rangers, and I had to use that tape. So he's got about a VHS tape with 2 hours worth of racing that's got about an hour and 40 minutes of Power Rangers on it that I don't think he lets me live down to this day. So I guess I'm going to go with Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, Johnny, we have a most embarrassing moment at the track that you can think of?
I don't know if I could think of an embarrassing moment. I've turned on a couple of red lights in terrible situations, but embarrassing? I don't know. I guess I don't get too embarrassed. Well, one tough deal was I got to my first NHRA Mount Motor Pro Stock race, we go out there, we qualify well, number 3. Go up there for first round. Ooh, burnout. I got Elijah Morton. He's qualified for number 6. And I let the clutch out. Tree comes down, I let the clutch out, and the car completely shuts off. When about an inch, he shakes the tire and wins the race. Car's completely shut off. So I guess if I had to pick one, that would be the one.
All right, now if you weren't a drag racer, you have any idea what you'd be doing?
Well, I'm a drag racer. I guess technically part-time, but other than that, I'm in the insurance industry. It's not something that, I guess when you're growing up saying you want to be an astronaut, you want to be a race car driver, you don't usually say, I want to be, a claims supervisor, but that is what I do. It's a good gig, and, it's definitely different than drag racing, but hey, got a bit of...
Yep. Now, what's been the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Yeah, sharing the winner's circle with my dad last year. Winning is awesome and everything, but the relationships that you build racing, you don't go to the racetrack to... Well, I don't go to the racetrack just because driving the car fast in a straight line is exciting. It is. I'm not saying it's not, but you go there for the relationships, for the competition, and all that. So to do something for as long as I'm 29 years old, to do something for as long as I have, and to get to a level where we're at, which when I was 10, 12, 14 years old, I didn't think we'd ever be able to qualify at pro stock race anywhere. Not that we were not capable, but it's a financial hardship to be able to get to that level. So, for us to go to fast forward the clock and go to the lot, first race of the year last year, and back-to-back runs, him win the pro stock race, me win the 632 race, and then pull the cars into the winner's circle and share a trophy, share 2 trophies, I should say. I don't think I'm going to have many memories that beat that.
Now, how important do you think it is for families to bring the kids out to watch drag racing in this day and age?
Oh, so important, man. It's so true. I tell so many people just, like, what drag racing did for me as a kid. You got to have something in your life that motivates you and pushes you and keeps you from being bored, because when you're bored, you make stupid decisions, right? So you gotta have something that drives you, I think. I don't know where I'd be without drag racing and the relationships and stuff we have. So I would say get your kids to the racetrack, teach them, and when any kid comes over to my pit, please ask questions. Sit in the race car. Do what you want to do. It might be your first memory. They might be hooked from there on out, and it's a great thing to do with your family. You look at the junior dragster racers. I was one, so I know. You look at how exciting and how much fun it is for them. It teaches you so much, just in life and other aspects. It's such a positive thing, and I'm just so blessed to have it in my life.
Yeah, they're the future of the sport.
Yeah, we need one too.
So now the best way for people to find out where you're going to be running would be the Pluchino Racing page on Facebook?
Yeah, so I'd say you can follow me, Johnny Pluchino, on Facebook. You can definitely like and follow Pluchino Racing. We'll be out running the rest of the PDR race season. We're going to be running some NHRA quarter mile races with our strutmasters.com Mustang. We are planning on winning a championship and some NHRA races. That's the plan. Again, we know it's a lot more difficult than just making a plan. So it's a very tough sport, and we got to set our goals somewhere, and that's what we're hoping to do. We have a lot of tough competition, and we will fight race in and race out. and work as hard as we can. And if we come up short at the end of the year, it's definitely not going to be due to a lack of effort. I promise you that.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Johnny, for